record producer, music producer, whichever title you prefer. The role's changed a lot over the last few decades, and I wanted to pull together a summary of what exactly a music producer does, how that role's developed, and how it can mean different things to artists and producers alike. Hi, I'm Ben Whelan at Services for Songwriters, and today I want to talk a bit about music producers. To keep things simple and avoid turning this into too much of a history lesson, I'm going to bypass early recordings and jump straight to what we currently associate as a studio producer. From carpet walled studios to converted cathedrals and everything in between, bedroom studios 100% included. First up, what I would call the original producer. Early producers had much less involvement in the engineering side of things than we see today. They were responsible for directing the creativity and performance of their artists, as well as the budgeting and organisation of productions. I'm sure I'm not the first person to hear the term record producer and think of a wise person who sits at the back of a studio, giving occasional direction, but not actually touching anything. And to a point, that used to be the case, and occasionally still is. At one point in time, when roles in a studio were unionised, there were actually rules around what each person could and couldn't do in any session. Quite frankly, that seems insane by today's standards. But then again, I think there's an argument for the benefit of separating roles. Granted, maybe not to that extent, but I think it probably did give people the opportunity to be more focused and maybe even better at their role. Next is what I'll call the dual-purpose producer. The two roles of engineer and producer gradually began to merge over time. Producers began to engineer their sessions and engineers took on some of the producing. And why not? If an engineer already knows how to capture a technically great sound, then it makes sense for them to step into the role of bringing out the best performance in the artist they're recording. Likewise, from the perspective of a producer, having an engineer between you and the sound you're envisioning could be seen as a barrier in certain situations. And that leads us nearly to where we are now, the dual role producer and engineer. Someone who's as comfortable setting up an 1176 for a vocal session as they are coaxing that singer out of an anxiety hole. I think far too often this merging of roles is discussed in the context of financial restrictions, and while that is a factor, I don't think it should overshadow the reality that working in this way can really help centre control. Which brings me fairly neatly to what we see much more of today, and that's the do-anything producer. In addition to engineering the recording and fulfilling the role of producer, they may also be part of the writing process and play some or all of the instruments. They're probably also able to pick up some mixing, and if need be, create a master as well. To look at what the role used to be and how the breadth of responsibilities grown over time can look almost overwhelming at a glance. Again, it would be easy to say it's budget related, but I think it's more productive to view it as a different way of working. If you trust your producer to help you polish off a song, step in as a session musician when needed, make you feel comfortable while recording, capture a sound that you like, and then mix it all into a finished product, you've streamlined your process and made things easier for yourself. And that can never be a bad thing, right? A couple of things to note: not every producer does everything, and that's fine. We all work our own way through music and find different avenues and interests that suit us better. What's important is that an artist works with the right producer for them and their current circumstances. At the end of the day, whether you're making music professionally or as an outlet, you should be working with people that bring out the best in you and support you in the areas that you need support. For some people, that might mean working with more than one person so that they can cover all those bases. Another thing to mention is that the role of a producer can and generally does change from artist to artist. Sometimes you can hit record and sit back, other times you need to put in extra time before and between sessions to make sure everything comes together. Neither's better or worse, they're just different. So if you're an artist who needs a little bit of a push, you shouldn't hesitate to say so. Similarly, if a producer's stepping all over your business when you're firmly in the driving seat, there's no harm in asking them to ease off. Everyone involved wants the best possible end product, and two-way communication's a really important part of getting there. I hope this video has gone some way to clarifying what a music producer or record producer can or might be. If you have any questions, please feel free to get in touch or leave a comment. Till next time.